Thank you all so much for the continued support.
We've been trying to contact you regarding your car's extended warranty.
This is probably my most requested episode to cover here on the channel. Not just of the Rugrats, but of any other show or cartoon so far. Now, we've covered a lot of the Rugrats here on the channel, from all of the spin-offs to the reboot and individual episodes. I am a lifelong fan of the series, and it warms my heart that so many of you watching are as well. Now, if you watched my All Grown Up video, you know how much I enjoy this iteration of the Rugrats. I enjoy seeing the characters growing up and dealing with different situations while still keeping the charm of the original. Now, I have made a video on one of the darker episodes from said original series, but I have yet to make a video on one of the darker episodes from All Grown Up, so today, I'm here to rectify that. Before we jump into all this here, I just wanted to say thank you all so much for the continued support on my videos. So make sure to drop a like, as it really helps out the video, and I am very much grateful for it. But okay, let's talk about the #1 requested episode of any show to cover here on the channel thus far, the All Grown Up special episode, Interview with a Campfire. Of course, right off the bat, the title is a play on the 1994 film Interview with the Vampire, commonly falsely remembered as Interview with a Vampire. The episode starts out as a Scream parody, with Lil receiving a creepy phone call while home alone, but instead of a murderer, it's a service provider telemarketer, and I don't know which is scarier. It's also just Dill. And here's where we see something that I personally love for Tommy's character, and that is his passion of becoming a filmmaker, and that this was him trying to create a scary short film, clearly inspired by stuff that he was watching. And here we see him really wanting to make a true scary horror film. So we catch up with the crew and their families on the way to Camp Everwood for a week. And I'm talking everyone. All the Rugrats, all the parents, all heading there. So once they get there, they end up meeting the camp counselor, an eccentric wannabe play director and actor, Ellie, who believes the camp is haunted, and Bean.
And that tall drink of crick water is Bean.
Alright, well, I am uncomfortable now. Anyway, while the whole lot of them are involved with the performance of the story of the settlers who had to bunker down and try and survive the harsh 1700s winter, we follow the real trail of mystery as the Rugrats get tangled in the real lore of the spookiness at the camp. At first it seems like a harmless summer camp experience. Tommy wants to film his horror movie, Dill, who is obsessed with finding cryptids like Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster, which are both extremely out of their original spotted locations and elements, and Chucky, who wants to find the thing that he is good at, what makes him more special in his eyes, and honestly, that's what's the most endearing part. Seeing Chucky kind of come out of his shell and take charge to be more adventurous and break free from his stereotypical character mold. Bean, who doesn't really speak, ends up telling the real story of the settlers in the area during a campfire hangout late one night, casting some fear into most of the campers and parents. Now, this is a longer episode. In fact, it played as a two-parter episode, or can be classified as a special movie or event. However you look at it, this was packed with more stories less scary, like following the actors in the play and the drama of putting on the show. All that wasn't creepy or spooky in any way, but this special episode gave us some genuinely funny lines and moments between characters that in most cases don't usually interact. Obviously, this was all filler to pad out the runtime. In this case, it was interesting filler, but filler nonetheless. If you took out all this other stuff here and just kept it to the main back half of the episode we're about to discuss here, you'd clearly see that this episode could have been a regular 22 to 24 minute runtime and condensed it down to the creepier elements of the story. But like I said, the filler isn't bad filler, at least. And it creates this kind of cool perspective between the play version of the settlers and the lore of the original settlers. But let's discuss the back half of the episode where, thanks to Tommy experiencing something from Bean's story come true, completely dwells into focusing on following the legend of the story, venturing out with a group of the Rugrats and some of the parents in search of the Pioneer Rock during the zombie moon later that night. But before venturing out, they are warned by Ellie with these words: "Don't ever got no brain or nothing." During this adventure, they are all led astray and slowly one by one get picked off until it's just the kids left and all the parents have gone missing. Here is when we start to see Chucky take charge and start finding his unique talents that make him special. After climbing up a tree, he finds an old journal of one of the lost settlers from the 1700s, adding real credence to the story being told. Followed by a quick mental breakdown from Tommy, who is conflicted over his want of making this movie and making sure his loved ones are okay. And later, after climbing to the top of a downed tree structure on one side of a hill and seemingly hanging on for dear life on the other, over a darkness-filled pit, Chucky falls into an abandoned mine shaft that he leads the rest of the group through while marking the way back so they don't get lost. Something we'd most likely see Tommy do, but thanks to his own shakeup with everything going on, Chucky continues to get his moment to shine. Continuing through the mine shaft, Bean, whose eyes are now piercing red, and draws the group further into the tunnels. Eventually, they run into a bunch of skeletons who, yes, are the original lost settlers who died here centuries ago. Aside from them, the parents were found huddled around trying to fight the cold and pass the time as they couldn't find a way out, and thanks to a picture found in the journal, they see that Bean was originally with the settlers all these years ago, as we see him creepily disappear into the shadows and never to be seen again. Everyone screams and realizes that, yeah, he was a ghost. They make their way out of the tunnels and back to the camp just in time for the end of the play, and everyone lives happily ever after, right? Right? Well, back home now watching the footage from the camera to see what Tommy captured, we see some statically manipulated footage and a creepy looking Bean warning the Rugrats the same words Ellie told them before they ventured off. Don't ever got no brains or nothing, causing all the kids to scream in terror as the haunting of Camp Everwood still lives on. Now, the Rugrats as a whole is no stranger to having darker or scarier stories told throughout all of its show iterations. We've covered some of that stuff here on the channel before, like I said, and I love that All Grown Up kept a lot of what made the original show so great, but it also wasn't afraid to make you afraid. Seeing this episode when I was younger definitely left me unsettled with the tone and atmosphere that it gave off, as well as the one final gotcha stinger at the end, just when you think everything's okay. It played out many of the tropes laden in films and TV shows, but kept the characters we loved interesting as to not let the focus drift into why the characters are standing out so much more than they usually do. We want to see these characters handle these situations. That's why we see similar stories and ideas within almost every show or movie, but we continue to enjoy them based on the company that the show keeps. Take away the Rugrats from the story, then it's just another scary camp story with a haunting adventure. But adding the Rugrats gives you these characters in this situation. That's why it's as effective as it is. All in all, yeah, it was a fun episode that delivered on some fun laughs in the filler moments and gave us the scares teased with the premise in the long run. I quite like that we got to see some of the internal conflict inside of Chucky, wanting to find his spark, and Tommy deal with his film obsession and not focusing on the real world around him. Even the parents have their own dealings with each other, seeing them gossip about Charlotte's Botox and nose job to Betty's handling of Lucy's modesty when she tries to underplay her talents to not overshadow the others. Heck, even the background characters get a funny moment in some meta commentary that they don't really matter.
We didn't get parts. You did an audition. Oh.
They are just there to fill in a background of other characters and are not the main cast of people we care about. The play even finished up with a Whose Line Is It Anyway hoedown-esque song, which gives bonus points for that.
The streets they said were paved with gold are paved with horse manure.
He reminds me of a very young Joe Pesci.
Well, there you go. That was one of the darker episodes of All Grown Up, and I would love to hear your thoughts down below in the comments regarding it. Did you find this episode unsettling when you first watched it? As well as what other episodes do you think are a little darker than normal from Rugrats or All Grown Up? I truly appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. Please leave a like as it truly does help out the video, and it really means a lot to me. Subscribe to be part of my journey through movies and television and how these films and shows affected my life from the past and present. But as always, I will see you soon with another video, but until then, later.